Hi, I'm Catherine, the founder of the Only Consultant and Prisma Tax Group. I specialize in tax preparation and accounting for sex workers and creators of all kinds. Thank you for tuning into Cash Content Chaos, the podcast where money, entrepreneurship, and real life collide. Listen in to learn, laugh, and realize that you're not alone in figuring it all out. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Cash Content and Chaos with Catherine Studley. Today, I am in St. Petersburg, Florida, Fetish Convention, FetCon, and I am joined by John, aka Catsuit.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be on your podcast. We've had such incredible conversations already. I think we should share one of our conversations with your wonderful viewers.
I agree, and that's why we're here. So I first met you or saw
hmm
you, I guess, on Friday. I took an intro to bondage course, and, and you were the assistant.
Oh, yes, I was. I had always followed Jewel Marceau as a fetish model for many, many years. And when I had her on my podcast, I said, I'd love to meet you someday. Got to meet her at a previous fetish con. And I said, Jewel, do you need a bottom for your class? And she said, yes. So this meta universe of me growing into my kink, wanting to be her because I identify as a damsel and I love to be captured, to be tied by the person that I always imagined being, was a very meta moment, but so beautiful. And Jewel and I have become really good friends. So it's a wonderful day for me as well.
I love that. And you said it was your perfect day actually on Friday.
Friday was my perfect day. I had amazing scenes. And for those who don't know what scenes are when two people get together and negotiate what they would like to do. Usually you have a top and you have a bottom. I've always been a bottom, and I got to play with somebody who I'd been waiting 4 years to play with. And the next day, I was able to have my podcast on the main stage so they could propose to their fiance on stage, and it was beautiful. And then I had an amazing scene with someone who I met here, who literally we engaged in a conversation. She said, I love your energy. And we had a scene that time stood still because we realized that it was about an hour and 45 minutes by the time we finished. I was like, oh my gosh, because we were in that moment. We were in that beautiful place that two people come together and feel. And that's the beautiful thing about what this world of kink is. People usually will say kinky sex. Sex doesn't have to be a part of it. It can be exchanging energy and the moment between two people. And that's what got me hooked.
Very interesting. Love that. And that's what we've been taking courses while we're here so we can better understand our clients. And that's what I've been collecting is that it's more of a headspace
hmm
and an energy exchange. More, I mean, it's also physical. Obviously, there's physical, but it's more of a headspace and an
Right.
experience. Can you speak to that?
Absolutely. In kink, there's a thing called subspace. And it is when serotonin starts popping in your brain. It can be a little bit of a drunk feeling where your mind just releases. People talk about getting out of your head. It is the ultimate in getting out of your head. The first time I ever had a public scene, I was strapped down to a bondage table where I couldn't move. Somebody was doing something that could be considered sexual, but I didn't know what was going on. So I said, oh, sure, why not? And then I found clothespins in places that I'd never had clothespins placed before. But then when I came out of the scene, I started bawling. And the my top said, are you okay? Did I do something wrong? And I said, for the first time in a dozen years, I wasn't thinking of what I had done or what I have to do. I was in a moment, and I had not felt that being a sportscaster and a sports producer where you're always in deadline for 12 years. And I became addicted to finding that moment again. And that moment can be subspace. It can be just knowing that Kink is the world that exists when the rest of the world goes away when you're in it.
Oh, like a deep meditation.
Yes, very much so. And so I have had a long journey in kink, started when I was 3 years old watching Batman, and I have developed into someone who sees themselves as authentic. I was able to come out as my authentic self about, I want to say 3 years ago, and I started teaching a class called Kindness and Other Kinks, which next year will change its name to Being Authentically Kinky. And it's how to find your authenticity within this beautiful world. And to promote that, I started a podcast 5 years ago called Authentically Kinky. The original title was What Women and Other Wonderful Humans Want. And somebody said, you don't have kink in the title, so help your Google stuff.
We love
And,
SEO.
and it immediately went to number one
Yeah.
when I changed it to Authentically Kinky. But it's the shame that happens when you go into kink, the shame and the guilt that you have. What happens if you can move that to the side? How much are you going to be able to just enjoy yourself? And so I started teaching this class, and I had no idea what the effect would be on the people that I'm teaching. I had a woman yesterday. I'm getting off the stage at the Superheroine Showdown, having just played the role of superheroine, which I love doing. And she said, I took your class 2 years ago. You're not going to remember me, but I took your class 2 years ago. In Catsuit, I wanted to tell you that you changed my life. I find myself so happy now because I know the place I'm supposed to be. I've had people write me emails telling me that they were on the brink of suicide coming to my class and were able to see themselves in a different way. That's why I do what I do. I want people to be seen. I want people to learn how to see each other because with the work that you do in judgment free zone, you have to get the person who is receiving the judgment to realize that the judgment isn't about them, it's about the other person. So, if I may, I want to teach one thing from my class.
Please.
Have you ever been called not normal or deviant or anything where somebody tried to put a label on you that was a cause for shame?
Of course, we all have.
We all chase normal. What if I said I could totally change your view of the word normal by adding 2 letters to it? The letters are MY. What is my normal? My normal is that I watched Batman when it originally came on, the same bat time, same bat channel. I actually was watching it when they would do that. It was on ABC,
Mhm.
and I was obsessed with it at age 3. Then, when I went into puberty, I started having orgasms and not knowing what they were. I had no idea what was causing it because I hadn't been taught that or told that.
Mhm.
But every single time I was watching Batman being tied up, or Catwoman seducing Batman, or Batgirl being tied up, or Emma Peel of the Avengers, the original British show, not the Avengers that you all know. So the first 7 or 8 times, I didn't know what was happening to me, but I knew what was causing it. So by the time I realized what it was, that's what was turning me on. And when I started dating, I would go, God, I hope there were tights or pantyhose so I have something that I can feel. And that's my normal. No one else can live my normal.
Mhm.
No one else can understand or judge my normal because that's my normal. Everyone has their own normal, and nobody else lives it but us. And so when you can see yourself in that way, what is my normal? Your normal is never going to be my normal, and your normal cannot define what my normal is because only I have lived it.
Yeah. Which is beautiful if you
Yeah.
look at it from a different perspective, right? That everyone is unique. And if you can step into your own authenticity
Yeah.
and your own normal.
Yeah. And that's I wear catsuits. My fet name is Hi There Catsuit, and I'm also Hi There Catsuit on all the different social media. And that's not a plug, that's just an introduction. Um, I walked into a dungeon for the first time in Cleveland when I moved there, and I was wearing a catsuit, and somebody goes, "Hi there, catsuit." And I went, "That's my name." Because I was like Catsuit Fanatic TX or something. It's something that didn't make any sense. Little did I know it would end up becoming a brand, my podcast, my classes. And so I walked through this fetish con. It's my fourth year. My first year was right after COVID, and I didn't know anyone. I'd had some people on my show, but I didn't know anyone. And so I got introduced around. And now I go through the halls of Fetish Con and I can't go 10 or 15 feet without somebody saying catsuit or wanting to tell me their story.
That speaks to your energy. I was one of those people. I chase you down the hall. I said, "Wait, I want to talk to you. You seem really interesting. Can we be friends? Wait."
And for someone who was in an abusive marriage, who didn't feel loved, whose genuine desire is to be seen and to be loved, I want others to find that, so I teach it so they can. But every single class I teach myself.
You're teaching a class today.
I'm teaching a class today, my kindness and other kinks. It's not part 2, it's session 2, because every one of my classes is different. So when I talk to organizers, I always say I would like to teach 2 sections of the class. And the reason is it's not because I'm an important person who has a topic that needs to be taught twice, although I do believe it's a very important topic. But so many people will come to that first class and they'll say, "Oh my God, my friend needed this." Or, "Oh, I know somebody who needs to be here." So I teach the first class and usually it's kind of a small group. And then the second class is so much bigger because people tell each other, "You need to go take this class because you will really find who you are." The original marketing line for my class was, "It's the class you have no idea why you're going to it until you get there and you realize that's exactly where you needed to be."
And it speaks to people, as a lot of these classes do, though. As I've
Yeah.
been attending them, I mean, I'm watching people cry. It's resonating with people, and it's more than whips and chains. That's
Yeah.
not what's going on here. Like,
Have you ever felt like tax season was designed to make you stressed? Let's face it, your income doesn't show up as tidy as a W 2. Instead, it's split between cash, apps, and constant fees. Whereas most accountants see this as chaos, I in fact know that it's my expertise. Here at The Only Consultant, we meet you where you are and transform confusion into clarity and confidence. The Only Consultant specializes in accounting for sex workers and creators. I designed this firm to turn tax season from panic to power, giving peace of mind to hustlers like you. We help you stay organized, feel confident, and remain in control of your money with judgment-free support and simple systems. We handle all the complicated stuff such as tax prep, bookkeeping, and compliance support so that you don't have to. The result? The feeling of empowerment that comes from being fully in control of your bag. You don't need to wait until April. You can go ahead and start today. Simply go to theonlyconsultant.com and book your consultation now, because peace of mind should be part of your hustle too.
I jokingly talk about the fact that my record was a half box of Kleenex at a Kink convention. A lot of people use Kleenex for different things, but in my case, it is to wipe away tears. It is to allow people to finally discover who they've always wanted to be rather than someone has projected that on them.
and I have found, we're working with clients all over adult and sex industry, but our kink clients are so gentle and kind and respectful and cognizant of boundaries and time limits. Like if I have a 25-minute call with someone at the 23-minute mark,
Mhm.
the client who works in kink is saying, "Hey, I know we're almost at the end of our session.
Yeah.
Just want to check in." I'm like, "Wow, like
Yeah.
what great people. Like, thank you so much for respecting my time."
Mhm.
And so it's something that I noticed about the industry, which is why I'm so happy to be here to learn more. And I can now now that I've experienced everything, it is true. I do find everyone here to be very kind and patient and welcoming. And
Hmm.
I'm not that spicy, right? And it doesn't matter. No one cares. I'm not being pressured. There's no
Hmm.
like everyone is very respectful of your boundaries. Like, okay, cool. We're gonna go do this. You're welcome to join or stay right here. And I can really appreciate that.
It's because it's all about consent. Kink is consensual. Kink goes through negotiations. Kink goes through permission. And you're very much looked down on if you don't get the proper negotiation and the proper permission. But you talked about the kindness. I've been invited next month to go teach my class in a very unique event. It's called the Athens Femdom Gala in Athens, Greece, with over 125 of the world's top professional dominatrices all gathering for a celebration of female supremacy. So
What an honor.
why would I be invited there? Number one, they wanted me to do the interviews because they used to interview each other and it would be, hi, how you doing? How you doing? And they know I would get really good answers out of them. But they're also bringing me over there to teach my kindness class. So the first thing that the slaves and the subs who have come with the pro doms will go through a workshop with me of my kindness and other kinks so they can understand and be set up for having a beautiful time in this world of female domination. But then 2 days later, I get to teach the pro doms and remind them that most of them are some of the kindest people I've ever met, and remind them of the gifts that they give to others. And while it may be transactional, the energy that they give with their heart and the ability to put somebody in a place that they've always dreamed of being is taken away as life changing and things that can be in your heart forever. And so many times pro-doms don't remember that gift side. So I want them to see their authentic selves because most pro-doms are themselves turned up to 11,
Yeah.
but one is a character and one is their regular life. And I want to show them where they can be one and the same and take to heart the beauty that they bring to the world. As I said, it can be transactional, but the impact that it has, no pun intended, but an amazing kink pun, the impact that it has is so, so important for those of us who are on the bottom side.
And then how does your conversation go with the subs and slaves?
You are here in a role of service, but realize that when you give, it's a gift back to yourself, that you are providing someone that you adore, admire, and love things that they need and they want because it gives you joy to do so. I'm going to talk about a scene that I had, which was one of the very few sexual based scenes, and I'll do it in a way that is everyone can hopefully understand. It was a scene where we were both wearing catsuits, and these catsuits have a real magical feeling when they touch each other because they slide over each other. So there's no friction. And so the top, who said, I don't want to be a top or bottom, just wanted to slide over my catsuit and my body and have us hold each other and hold each other down and let each other go. And the woman felt joy multiple times. At the end, they wanted me to feel joy, but I'm not sexually active to the point where I can instantly do it.
Mhm.
And they said, are you okay? And I said, the joy that I gave you tonight, the feeling that I gave you, the look in your eyes, the way you tensed up, the way you held me so tightly, the way you got totally out of control. That's my joy. So you gave me plenty of joy tonight.
That's where it's an energetic exchange,
Very
truly,
much
right? So
so.
it's not sexual, or it can
No,
be sexual, but
it can
it's,
be
yeah.
sexual. But let's talk about a time where you might be tied back to back with that same person and the same thing. It's the energy that goes between you. It's the friction that goes between you. When an impact toy, or if an implement hits your bottom or your thigh or your back, when a flogger comes through, it's like going through a car wash, but the most beautiful car wash you've ever been, because it's taking you deeply into a place where you want to be. And people wonder about sadists and masochists. Why would anyone want to take a paddle thrown at such a high velocity? It's because there's a certain impact to it that makes you realize the absolute sting of it. But as it starts to go away, you're like, this is really nice. And then you have another one, and it builds and builds and builds to where you don't even think about it anymore. Now, people will always be conscious of not wanting to physically hurt, or even better, harm another.
Yeah, let's talk about that. How do we prevent that in play and in these spaces?
Good negotiation.
Okay. Which is at the top, starting.
Yes. Know your limits. Know how much you can take. A good top, if they're going to do impact with you, will always give you a pain scale. 2 is like a warm up. You're feeling it, but it feels good. 6 is a mid level where it's a little bit of a challenge, but you can still take it, and you could do that all day long. But when you start getting up to an 8, it means you are severely challenged. And at any time you could say yellow, which means slow down, or I can't take that particular implement anymore. Or you can say red, which is a universal word in all of kink for stop what you're doing.
Got it. Good
Eh,
to know.
that's how we're able to do that. So when I play, people will start playing with me, and I'm going, we're not even to a 2 yet. And they're like, oh, okay. So they ramp it up a little bit. I went, we're there. And then I said, I'll check in next to you when you get to a 6. And I'll go, 6, just in part of the conversation. Or if I'm gagged, I'll go, "Eh."
But it's the communication, one
Yes,
way or another. If it's a wiggle of the
yes,
toes, wiggle of the
yeah.
fingers, do blinks.
Or in the case of when I played with Master Trinity, I literally was in my bonds with my thumb straight up in the air, and I held it that way. And that way they knew they could go harder with their impact, knowing that if I ever went like that, they'd slow down.
Does tax season leave you anxious, sorting through receipts, or worried you've missed something important? You're not alone. And that's exactly why I created the only consultant in Prisma Tax Group. My goal is to meet you where you are and give you judgment free solutions that make financial management simple, clear, and stress free. At The Only Consultant, our services go beyond just tax preparation and filing. Taking the confusion out of money starts with the basics, aka education and bookkeeping. We can track your income and expenses, which means you'll never have to scramble for receipts ever again, and you will fully understand what is going on. Additionally, I offer monthly subscriptions and ongoing guidance. With monthly support, you'll always have an expert in your corner, giving you real time answers, steady organization, and the peace of mind that lets you focus on your hustle and not the paperwork. We specialize in tax preparation and filing for sex workers and creators. When it's time to file, I handle your federal and state returns, maximize your deductions, and make sure the right forms get submitted for your unique income streams. The benefit? You save time, avoid mistakes, and walk into tax season feeling confident. Last but not least, we provide compliance and business consulting. So whether you need help setting up your business, staying compliant, or navigating something intimidating, I've got you covered. Instead of second guessing, you'll feel confident, supported, and ready to grow with someone who understands your hustle. And here's the best part. You don't have to do it all. You can choose the services that fit your needs right now, or let me and my team at The Only Consultant handle everything from start to finish. Either way, you will receive the clarity, respect, and financial confidence that you deserve. So if you're ready to feel in control of your finances, whether it's this tax season or all year round. Head to my website, theonlyconsultant.com, and click contact. Or you can always find me on social media, Instagram and TikTok at the_only_consultant. Click the link in my bio and contact me there. We look forward to meeting with you.
So I got a tour of the dungeon yesterday
Yeah.
night, my first time in a dungeon. What a vibe. I didn't expect a DJ in the dungeon. That was the first thing. I was, oh my God, this dungeon's lit. Okay.
Because the music takes you out of your head.
Okay. I can
You
see
don't,
that.
it's so loud because you don't want to hear the other people talking. And that's why it's so loud. Fortunately, being my age, which is 62, I'm a little hard of hearing. Oh, sometimes people would say, "How are you feeling?" And I would say, "Could you say that again, please?"
What? What?
Or as some Midwesterners say, "Sorry." No,
Sorry.
yeah,
Let's talk about dungeon etiquette. So
yes,
I noticed you couldn't bring any drinks. Obviously, no
yeah,
photography.
yes.
What else?
Don't get close to a scene that you're not a part of. Never talk to somebody who's in a scene.
Okay.
And that includes aftercare, meaning when the scene is over and the two people are cuddling, or even if they're just cleaning up the equipment, that is their time. Don't interrupt a scene. Um, I I think a space thing is very important. Sometimes people will accidentally find themselves hit by a flogger because they went too close to a scene.
I was almost in the line of fire yesterday. Someone said,
Yes.
Catherine, let's just pull you over here. Thank you so much. Okay.
Yeah. But the main thing is give people their space because it is their world that exists when all of you have gone away and they're in it. So that's the important thing to remember in a dungeon.
And can you describe what's in the dungeon? Like,
Yes. So there are different things to be tied to or different things to be leaned over on. There's a spanking bench that has places for your knees and your hands to basically open up your butt. It's a spanking
Mhm.
bench. There are St. Andrew's crosses, which are X's that are foundationally on the top and the bottom that have hooks to them. So you can put somebody's arms up and their ankles down and clip to the piece of equipment. There's also chain webs and bars that go across that people will do rope through and tie a web on you. There are also rope rigs where people will actually do rope and suspend you and create this beautiful world of flying. And sometimes they'll add impact to it, which adds that much more. My negotiation when I go into a scene is a song lyric. It's I want to be stuck in a moment I can't get out of. And that's what opens up the negotiation for me. It's not a list of I want this, I want this, I want this. What does that song lyric mean to you? What are the things that you can come up with to help you understand what I might want? But I want to trust you because trust is the number one thing you give in this wonderful scene. Other things in a dungeon, there can be steel riggings, which again are to tie people to. Um, I think the most fun thing I've seen in a dungeon is a rope web that's on two sides, so two people can be facing each other while having impact, and you can be tied into this, and you can't get out, but you realize you're having a shared experience with the person right across from you. There's so many different kinds of dungeon equipment. There's so many amazing people that make dungeon equipment. I know some folks in Columbus. Barrick is somebody, Barak, makes amazing equipment. He has a thing called AIS Kink Labs, and he designs because he's been in the scene for so long. He designs new ways to allow people to get lost in the piece of equipment and how they're tied to it or how they're holding on to it. It's a science, it's
For sure.
architecture, it's beauty.
And it's art.
Yes, very much.
There's layers to this.
Yeah, very much. And so I always enjoy a good piece of equipment and um, how it makes you feel. So I'll walk into a dungeon and I will literally feel what the equipment is. And it sounds very meta, but I try to become one with the equipment and understand. And I don't have expectations about what's going to happen because they will always let you down. I have anticipations. Expectations are stories that have already been written with a period and an epilogue. Anticipations are all the possibilities are there and nothing's been written.
Ooh, I think that's where we're going to leave it, everyone.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Hi there, Catsuit. Thank you so much for this impromptu conversation. I appreciate your time. I'm so happy I chased you down the hall to meet you, and I can't wait for your kindness in Kink class.
And I'm looking forward to having you on my podcast, which is Authentically Kinky, available on YouTube and Spotify is the major ones, but you can find it elsewhere. And it's over 350 episodes of interviews with people in the kink and fetish community, educators, pro doms, content creators, and everyday people. And it's my pride and joy.
We'll be sure to check it out. It sounds like a great place to start if you have any curiosity about kink, a very safe podcast to start with. So that's all, folks. Have a good one.
Thanks for listening to Cash Content and Chaos. If you had fun, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who would love it too. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at TikTok at the_only_consultant. And I'm also on X at the Only Consult. I will be back with more real talk on money, entrepreneurship, and life to remind you that you don't have to figure it out all alone. Be well, guys.